everybody, my name is Rocco Alberto Baldassarre, founder and CEO of Zebra Advertisement. Today we are going to talk about enhanced campaigns, and we will specify how we can actually manage these campaigns in order to generate a great ROI. Please keep in mind that Google will not ask you to upgrade your campaigns, but they will just do that. So you need to know how to master your campaigns in order to keep the good job that you're currently doing. Our presentation is going to be divided into some main topics. First of all, we talk about how to differentiate desktop and tablet campaigns and how to optimize them. We will then focus on optimization of text ads and keywords, and then move toward some shared library topics and quality score. And we will finally conclude talking about all the app extensions that Google introduced and about the new geo-targeting methodologies. So enhanced campaigns give you the opportunity to decide a bid adjustment on mobile devices. As you can see in my screenshot here, we can actually modify the bid adjustment just for mobile devices with full browser capabilities. And we can actually do the same for different parts of the day. So for example, you can say on Monday I want to bid plus 20%, while I want to bid minus 10% on Tuesday because my profit is usually lower that day. And we can also adjust our bids by the geographic location. So for example, if we have a campaign that is targeting 3 countries, you can decide to say I want to bid 5% more in Germany, 10% less in Italy, and keep my standard bid from Belgium. This is actually really useful, and we will look more into details at the end of this presentation. So let's start with some basic questions that I'm asked for during many of my consulting sessions. So the first question is, I do not want to target any mobile device with full browsing capability. How do I do that? As we showed in the previous slide, you just need to set up a bid adjustment of minus 100%. In this case, if you are using the live account, it would say decrease my bid by 100%. Do I have to create different ads for mobile and desktop devices? If you're using an enhanced campaign targeting all devices and you're not trying to separate your desktop and mobile budget, we can actually do that, and you can create one single ad and specify in your preferences that you want to run this ad only on mobile devices. Of course, this is a preference, and it is not a guarantee that your ad will run only on mobile devices, but you can just create also ads and don't have any preference, they will just run on mobile. So you can create either ads that are for both devices, so you can tell Google which one are ideally for mobile devices. Is it going to be more difficult to manage campaigns? Let's say that the bigger your campaign is, the more difficult it will become with enhanced campaigns. But if you have small campaigns, Google is actually developing a system that is very easy to use. So enhanced campaigns will simplify your management needs. Where do I visualize the bids by device, day and location? We'll have some screenshots about that later, but you can basically click in a campaign you want to see the performance, and then you click on settings, and you will have a sub menu right below settings that will give you the possibility to look at the performance by location and device and day. So moving forward, we are going to talk about differentiating desktop and mobile performance. In order to do that, we can have two methods. One method that is really quick and easy to use, and the second method which is a bit more analytical, but that will give you more opportunities to optimize your account. So the first method consists on clicking on the campaign you want to analyze. Then you click on settings, as you can see in the screenshot. Then you will see the sub menu. You will see the sub menu only if your campaign is already enhanced. Then you can click on devices, and you will have a breakdown with your performance. So this method is really good because it's easy to use. It gives you an immediate snapshot of your account, and you can actually change the bid by device right there. And the disadvantages of this method is that it doesn't give you the possibility to evaluate the performance by device of a single age group, and it doesn't give you the opportunity to do the same for for a single keyword as well. So the second method instead is a bit more helpful, as it gives you the opportunity to analyze performance also by ad groups and keywords. So we are going to show it at the campaign level, but you can simply scale this method for the other segments. So first of all, you log in your AdWords account and click on campaign. Once you click on campaign, you then click on segment, and then you open a sub-menu which has a page called device. Once you click on device, you will basically have a breakdown of your performance based on computers, mobile, and tablets. This is really helpful. I would suggest everybody to actually use this method because it is preciser than the previous one. And now we are going to talk about optimizing mobile desktop performance. First of all, it's important to say how enhanced campaigns are going to limit the ability of actually optimize mobile desktop performance. So first of all, we need to say how they don't give you the opportunity to create mobile only ads, but you can just create a favorite ad that will show up on mobile, but this is not guaranteed. Secondly, you cannot have keyword specific keywords that are specific for mobile devices, and you cannot have a bid per keyword that is customized to the device. So you can just have a general bid modification that is, for example, minus 80% for mobiles, but you cannot do that on a keyword level. And finally, you would have some problems actually creating click-to-call campaigns, and we will actually talk about that later on. So in order to see a bit more, to have more insights about your mobile against desktop performance, you can do that in at the advertisement level. So basically, you just need to log in your AdWords account, go in the campaign you want to analyze, clicks on ads, or you can also go into the ad group you want to analyze, and then you can create a custom filter, and the custom filter will be device preference. So it would basically you can basically set up a filter for desktop and mobile, and we basically give you the opportunity to say, okay, I want to see ads that are just for mobile devices, and then you can analyze the performance of mobile devices against desktop ones. So in order to optimize your campaigns, you would actually need to do something pretty interesting. So I would suggest that if you have a big budget, you actually separate your mobile and desktop campaigns. In order to do that in enhanced campaigns, you actually need to have a strategy in place, and the best strategy to have in place is the one that I'm going to describe you. So first of all, create a desktop only campaign which has a mobile bid adjustment of minus 100%. So this campaign is not going to bother to show up on mobile devices. Then you need to create a mobile campaign, and in this mobile campaign you need to make sure to set up a desktop bid that is so low that your ad will not show up. But you also need to set up a mobile bid that is high enough to show up on first page and ideally on first position. So how do you do that? First of all, you need to think about the fact that if your desktop bid, it has to be, for example, $10 to show up on first page for the search network, you are definitely not going to show up with a bid of $3. So you also need to know that the maximum bid adjustment for mobile devices is plus 300%. So it means that if you have a bid of 3, you can have an additional 9 of bid for mobile devices, which means that if you do plus 300%, your final bid would be 3 plus 9, 12. So your desktop bid for the mobile campaign will be your desired mobile bid, so let's say $5, divided by 4. So your desktop bid will be so low that it will not show up on desktop devices. Of course, this is not a guarantee, but you will limit this chance by 90 to 95%. So again, once you optimize your mobile against desktop performance, you need to focus on 5 elements in order to understand where these elements work best. So first of all, you need to understand which keywords work best on mobile devices and which keywords work best on desktop devices. Then you need to understand which ad variation work best on which device, And again, you need to understand which call to actions work best on mobile devices and which one work best on desktop devices. And also you need to understand which geographical areas are best for desktop and mobile devices, and the same thing should be done for landing pages. So these are the 5 elements you should always pay attention to. And now we're going to talk about how to actually optimize text advertisement. So first of all, let me start by saying that there are always 5 elements that you need to focus on: advertising titles, call to action, benefit driven, display URL, and landing pages. So the advertising title is the one on top of the ad, the blue one, in order to be clearer. The call to action is what are you asking your customers to do? So buy now, call now, contact us now. The benefit driven is usually what you include in the description line one. So for instance, lose 10 kilos immediately, or have the best pay-per-click service ever, or whatever the benefit of your service is. So for example, luxury apartment in Canada. Then you need to also include a display URL, and the display URL of course is the green one using the ad. So it's not actually the landing page, but it's the URL you display on your advertisement when a person performs a search on Google. And finally, the landing page is the page you make them land on. So focus on these 5 elements and do not test them all at once. Of course, you need to test them once at a time in order to have statistically relevant results. So in order to set up a proper test, you need first of all to decide how many advertisements you should run at once based on your click volume per week. So if you have a click volume of 1000 clicks per week, you can test more advertisements than a click volume of 100 clicks per week. So you also need to decide how long the test will run and how often you're going to delete low performing advertisement. So this means that you need to understand when it's time to optimize your test on a weekly basis. Also, you need to understand which kind of test you want to run first, based on the 5 elements that we described in the previous slide. Then you can create a test schedule in order to say, first I'm going to test the advertising title, then the landing page, then the display URL, and so on. And you will actually repeat this cycle over and over and over. And you need to also agree on which variable within CTR and conversion rate to test. It might seem obvious to test the conversion rate, but actually you cannot convert many searches if you don't have an high CTR, so you might want to alternate these 2 variables. Finally, don't forget to reset your advertisement statistic every time you delete an advertisement or every time you start a new test, because otherwise your test is not going to be statistically relevant. You always want to start from 0 whenever a change is made in your test. So in order to reset your advertisement, you need to add a dot or make a change and revert it. So Google will reset your stats. So moving forward,